So just 50 days before the election, guess what Donald Trump was doing? He launched a new cryptocurrency startup with his sons. It wasn't a campaign event. It was a business announcement 50 days before the election. After recently saying crypto was a scam, Donald Trump now owns more than $1 million in crypto. Trump viewed the presidency as a get-rich scheme, and he views this campaign as a get-rich scheme. And all of those schemes are detailed in the new book, Lucky Loser. Suzanne Craig and Russ Buettner are Pulitzer Prize-winning reporters for the New York Times, and they're the co-authors of that book, Lucky Loser, How Donald Trump Squandered His Father's Fortune and Created the Illusion of Success.
I always love when we have authors on set because they give me an opportunity to activate my inner Vanna White. Congratulations to you both.
Good, we had to hire you for that. That was actually first rate. I love it.
Thank you. I got a manicure recently. The title kind of says it all.
It does. He's been lucky and he's lost a lot. He was born into a very wealthy family, his first stroke of luck. That alone, in the end, brought him more than $400 million in inheritance and other money that he got along the way. And then his second amazing stroke of luck was meeting Mark Burnett and getting on The Apprentice. And people are really surprised. It's one thing, you've got a rich dad, and he denies that, will make that, but you got a rich dad and you inherit a lot of money. But for Mark Burnett, you think, oh, there's this television host. How much can he be making? But he just struck this incredible deal with Mark Burnett, where not only would he get paid to host the show, but he would get the product placement money. That's when if this mug had a corporate name on it, there's a payment that would go along with that. And he got hundreds of millions of dollars from doing that and from the licensing deals. It was almost like a second inheritance for him.
Yeah, so Russ, yes, I want to play a little sound for you, my friend, from the Wayback Machine, right? This is Donald Trump when he was first running for president in 2016. Let's take a listen to what the man had to say.
It's not been easy for me. It has not been easy for me. And, I started off in Brooklyn. My father gave me a small loan of $1 million. I came into Manhattan. And I had to pay him back, and I had to pay him back with interest.
Donald was very fortunate in his life, and that's all to his benefit. He started his business with $14 million borrowed from his father.
My father gave me a very small loan in 1975, and I built it into a company that's worth many, many billions of dollars with some of the greatest assets in the world. And I say that only because that's the kind of thinking that our country needs.
Why do voters buy the storyline that somehow this guy came out from nothing and he clawed his way up the business ladder in New York and made this fortune and he's won some, he's lost some, and yet at the end of the day there's this thread of just being the loser?
Michael, that's the question of his lifetime, I think, that you raised there. Let's just start by saying everything he said during those bits was not true at all. He did not start from nothing. His father was not a small-timer. As Sue said, he started with the complete support of his father. And I think what's really made that stick is, first of all, him repeating it throughout the course of his life. He's been saying this since he was a young man, that his father was a small-timer. He said that to make his own accomplishments seem more heroic. And he's been saying that he made that into billions of dollars, which was not really true for years, if ever. But the repeating of that and the fact that it's not easy to check on the operations of a small, privately held business, there's no corporate board to check, there's no public reporting, meant that people repeated it for decades without any way to really check it. And that repetition through the years and on television and in newspapers had an effect that's really lasted. And The Apprentice, as Sue said, also really just escalated, amplified that claim, and made him look so super powerful, so super accomplished, that it created an impression that lives to this day.
I also think it's amazing the way that this loan from his father was structured such that he actually never gives the money back.
Right, I know, it's incredible. Like it's a loan and then it's turned into an investment and written off, and people can read about it in the book, but we talked to experts who thought that was illegal. His life is just incredible. Russ was talking about sort of just how did this happen, and the other just really, I think, effective thing that Donald Trump did was he bought the accoutrements of wealth. There's years where he lost money, but he's got this really expensive yacht, the Princess, that he's, people pictures of him on, you see it. He's got the helicopters, and that stuff gets him on these wealth porn shows like Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous with Robin Leach.
Which he did understand, because when you were saying that he hit the jackpot with The Apprentice, where I thought you were going with that was actually that he hit the jackpot in the way that it allowed him to create himself as a businessman in the popular imagination, that what he might actually have lacked in the way of business acumen, he built in the way of a brand through that television show.
I think that supercharged what he'd already been trying to do. But keep in mind, after sort of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous in that episode, he did have a lot of business failures that I think really hurt him. And we see when Mark Burnett comes along and casts him as the host of the show, and he was cast, they looked at actual really, really, really rich people. Warren Buffett was one of them. But the producers decided either, well, people like Warren Buffett and Jack Welch, they're actually, busy.
They're too busy.
And they're actually probably, I'm not sure we all would have watched the show if, love Warren Buffett or, maybe busy. Not. He was not maybe as telegenic as Donald Trump was. So he gets on that show and that supercharges that image.
I love it, Suzanne. Yeah, Warren Buffett. I mean, those guys are really busy. Let's go to the guy who's not so busy, Donald Trump. And here's the thing that I find the most intriguing. A lot of it was such a fake. It was all fake. So from the book, we talk about Trump lying about construction progress. Donald Trump kept the truth to himself. He did not have things underway because he did not have the money. He directed his construction supervisor to hire every piece of earth-moving machinery he could find. The day the Holiday Inn board visited, dozens of bulldozers and backhoes pointlessly pushed mounds of earth around the 2.6-acre site in an elaborate ruse with no purpose other than to fool his new business partners. That, ladies and gentlemen, sums up Donald Trump. It is all fake, fake, fake. And it's just the fact that this is his storyline and his ultimate legacy, and yet it's got this patina, this veneer, that he's the successful businessman, he's the tough guy, he's all of this much. It's all fake. It's worse than smoke and mirrors.
I couldn't have said it better, Michael. That was really impressive. But I think we see that, especially in the latter part of his life. That was a scene from an early part of his life. After The Apprentice money came in, after tens of millions of dollars from licensing came in, he tried again to create large-scale businesses. So he built the tower in Chicago with hotel rooms and apartments in it. And what he didn't tell the world was that he had declared it worthless on his federal tax returns. It was such a failure that he said it had no value to him at all. He spent millions of dollars, $200 million, remodeling the old post office in Washington, D.C. into a hotel. That lost money every year that he opened it, and he, a couple of years ago, had to sell the thing because it was eating so much cash. So he's getting all this money that he can use to look wealthy, and he's creating businesses from that, but he's having to support the businesses with his entertainment money. And that's the illusion that you're getting at, this kind of smoke and mirrors aspect.
Sometimes our viewers say, like, why are we still talking about Donald Trump? and part of it is that his success is built upon lies, and part of our job as journalists is to debunk those lies, especially given the consequences that those lies have. And I love where you end the book, where you write, as much as the illusion of success was the ultimate creation of Trump's first 70 years, the illusion of his persecution may be his final masterpiece.
Right. I mean, this is a theme throughout his life. It's just that he has been a victim. Over and over and over, we see it coming back right out of when he first starts working for Fred, the language he uses in all the cases where somebody comes after him or they question him is that he is a victim. So you have, there's a lot of themes running through the book. We don't go into the White House, but we go back 100 years. We tell this sweeping narrative, and at the end of it, the guy who's going to be in the White House.
Well, and I just want to say the other thing you do, though, is you create a corollary with the American electorate and with the argument he's making to the American electorate, which is he is aggrieved, they are too, and that is why he ought to be their man.
Right, because that's it. He's like, they're coming after me, they're coming after you.